Hey everyone, it's Charlie from StreetFrench.org. Here are 10 phrases that I think are really important to know when you're starting out learning French. Je ne comprends pas. Je ne comprends pas. That means I don't understand. In casual conversation, a lot of times we'll just take out the ne completely when we negate things. And I'll talk about that more in a future video, but in a casual conversation like you'll probably be having, you can say je comprends pas. Je comprends pas. Je comprends pas. And sometimes people will say this very fast and it'll sound like je comprends pas. Je comprends pas. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? That would translate to what does that mean? And this is great for when someone says something and you don't know what they said, and you can stop them and you can repeat the word back and you can say, Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? And the idea is that someone will be able to explain to you what the word means in French, and you'll get to the point where you know enough that you can understand what they're saying and you can move along in the conversation. Here's a quick example of what I mean by that.
Tu sais que mon chien adore les toboggans.
Attends. Un toboggan?
Ouais, toboggan.
Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire?
C'est le jeu où les enfants glissent dessus. Tu t'assois et tu glisses vers le bas.
Ah, ok. Comment dire? Comment dire? Comment dire? And this means, how do you say? And you can add something at the end, like, comment dire, chair. And if the person knows a bit of English, they'll be able to respond and they'll say, une chaise. Une chaise. Pardon. Pardon. Excusez-moi. Excusez-moi. These both mean sorry or excuse me, and this is great for when you say something incorrectly. Je voulais dire. Je voulais dire. This means I wanted to say or I meant to say. So you can actually use these together. Oh, pardon. Je voulais dire. So it's like, sorry, I meant to say. And then whatever you meant to say after. Répétez, s'il vous plaît. Répétez, s'il vous plaît. Répète, s'il te plaît. Répète, s'il te plaît. The first one, répétez, s'il vous plaît, that is a very formal way to say, please repeat. As in, please repeat whatever you just said. But a lot of times, you won't use the formal version. You might use the informal version if you're having a casual conversation with a friend or something. In this case, you would say, répète, s'il te plaît. The next phrase is, pouvez-vous parler un peu plus lentement? Pouvez-vous parler un peu plus lentement? Pouvez-vous parler un peu plus lentement? This means, can you speak a bit more slowly? Encore une fois. Encore une fois. This means one more time. You can also add s'il vous plaît or s'il te plaît to say please, but this is great for when someone says something you didn't understand and you'd like them to repeat what they said one more time. Number 9 is not actually a phrase, but I think it's very important to get early on. Ouais in French means yeah. And just like in English, if we said yes for everything, every time we wanted to give a positive response, it would be kind of strange. Most of the time, we just say yeah. And in French, it's the same. So instead of saying oui all the time, a lot of times people will just say ouais. I've actually seen it written a couple ways, so I put them both up there just in case you see it somewhere in a text message or something like that. So when you go out and speak French, you should hear this quite often. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est quoi ça? C'est quoi ça? This means, what is that? Qu'est-ce que c'est is the more traditional version that you would find in textbooks. It's still said a lot, but people also tend to say, c'est quoi ça? Or sometimes they don't say ça at the end, they'll just say, c'est quoi? That would literally translate to, it is what? And this is something we'll talk about in the future, but a lot of times French people, they tend to take a statement and add quoi at the end and turn it into a question. This isn't something you would learn in the traditional French class, but a lot of people speak this way. Again, they're both very common. You'll hear them both a lot. So again, this could be very helpful for if you point to something and you want to know what something is, or if someone says something to you, says a word that you're not familiar with, you could just say, qu'est-ce que c'est? And they will explain it to you in French. So those are the phrases that I think can be very helpful and even as sometimes necessary when you're learning French. I hope you find them useful as well. Please don't hesitate to ask us any questions you may have down in the comments below. We would be more than happy to help you. If you'd like to get instant access to our free conversational French course, click here. It's going to have a ton of stuff to help you learn French, especially if you're a beginner. It has 10 phrases that make learning French really easy, how to say things in the present, past, and the future. And on top of that, I'll show you an easy way to conjugate 90% of all French verbs.